Flyer hanging over my right shoulder here. On the 100th anniversary of flight, we unveiled this 1/4 replica scale of the Wright Flyer, and I wanted to mention that the Blair Corporation, their employees actually constructed this model and donated it to the airport to put on permanent display here in the baggage claim. Again, this was dedicated back in 2003 in December on the 100th anniversary of flight. The next event in the Art in the Airport program was the unveiling of the Our Town mural, which is located across from the information desk in the main lobby. If you have a chance to stop by and look, there are dozens of interesting scenes depicted from all around this area that talks about the history of our town. So it was a very nice addition to the airport terminal, which prior to that didn't have a whole lot of art on display. Also in December of 2004, we launched the Volume 2, I guess you could call it, or maybe even Volume 3 if you count the Wright Flyers #1, of the Art in the Airport program, and that was entitled Famous Erie Aviators. We started with 2 portraits, and we moved our way through a total of 13 portraits, having been unveiled by July of 2012. And of course, the next year, 2013, I want to mention quickly something that happened that was a bit of a surprise. We had a local family that was planning to move down to Florida, I believe it was, and they were retired. The husband had spent a lot of time building model aircraft, and he had, as I understand it, over 700 model aircraft, and decided he wanted to donate upwards of 400 of them to put on display here in the airport. So we decided to say yes, and they came with display cases, by the way. And so we have on display in the main lobby across from the airline ticket counters the Charles Arnold Memorial Miniature Military Aircraft Museum, which is absolutely amazing to take a look and stroll through and see how meticulous he was. You'll find oil stains and marks on the aircraft to depict aircraft that had actually been in combat World War II. So very, very interesting to tour through, and something we're very pleased to put on display here in the airport. But of course, once we had our 13th portrait unveiled, we had basically filled the wall space, which was located just to my left up the hallway across from the car rental counters. What to do? We were out of space. And so the interesting thing was my committee chair, Mr. Augustine, he had already solved the problem years prior. I just didn't know it yet. What happened was he was here in the baggage claim one day, and he saw this wall off to my right, which was gray and concrete and pretty boring, and he said that would be a great place for our future expanded exhibit. But there was a large vehicle display sitting on the floor right in front, and I knew that display was under lease, that location was under lease to the company that wanted to advertise there. And of course it was a prime location because as all the arriving customers walked down the hall, they would see that display, and so the company liked that location. And I feared that they wouldn't want to move. But once we got to 2012 and that 13th portrait, we knew we had to do something. So we made a phone call to that company, and lo and behold, they decided they wanted to relocate over here by the windows. They thought that was even better location, and the path was cleared for what became a tremendous addition to our airport, which we're going to show you here in just a minute. At this point, I would like to bring up a local artist and former airport employee, Mr. Aaron Knapp, to join me here. To my right. I will say Aaron looked a little different when I first met him, but over the years, we have talked a couple different times about aviation and art, and his passion for wanting to have a mural out here at the airport depicting aviation, scenes from aviation. And so we had met years before, and then we had the problem with space on the wall, and we had the solution with the advertiser agreeing to move. And so I reacquainted with Aaron, and we talked about having a mural as the backdrop for the future expanded Famous Erie Aviators exhibit. We had Major Thomas Carr and Paul Weitz. They were the first two that were honored in December of 2004. Then we moved on to Colonel Philip Cochran and Colonel John Boyd in July of 2005. They're the ones in the middle. But then all the way to the far right, You have Major Robert Patterson LaFollette, November 2007. Master Sergeant Mario Filigenzi, May 23rd, 2008. Then Major Earl Abbott, May 22nd, 2009. Also on the same day, Colonel Richard Helwich. And then on July 2nd, 2009, we had a second ceremony, and two additional honorees were honored that day. Lieutenant Colonel McGee Fuller and First Lieutenant John Siegel. August 19th, 2011, we honored Lieutenant